Hello, welcome to this 16-week government course at Wharton County Junior College. My name is William Fagan. I am a professor for this course. I'm one of those old-fashioned professors who believes that no method of instruction really matches the traditional face-to-face course. However, I realize that we have moved into a new era in higher education, one in which a significant number of students are, for a variety of reasons, unable to enroll in or simply prefer not to take traditional face-to-face classes. Fortunately, developments in information technology have allowed those of us who have devoted our professional lives to the education of students such as you to extend our course offerings electronically. Unavoidably, some things will be different than they would have been if you had taken this course in a face-to-face format. But I believe I have developed this online course in a manner that approximates the learning experience you would have received had you enrolled in a face-to-face section of this course. Actually, there are some advantages to online courses. From your perspective as a student, online courses serve your needs because you can access course materials from your home or your office or any location that you have a computer and internet connection. From an instructional perspective, online courses work the same way. For example, I can lecture to you from any location, from the classroom or from the hallway outside the classroom while walking back to my office, or from my office itself. In front of the office's refrigerator, while making photocopies, while outside at night, while walking to my car, from my home office, from this hammock. I can lecture to you from here on the shores of beautiful Lake Belton. I like this spot. I could lecture to you from this balcony. Or I could write out my lecture notes and have this cartoon character read them to you. The point is clear. Online courses can be convenient for both the student and the instructor. Of course, there can be some disadvantages to online courses. For example, communication between the professor and students can be hampered by the frustrations of technology. Servers go down, emails get misdirected. Meaning, emphasis, and tone can be misconstrued in electronic communications. And perhaps worst of all is the fact that there are no I-stays online. But one point should be emphasized again. In terms of the substance of the course requirements, and the basis for evaluating students' performance, the online course should be approximate to the same features of the face-to-face course. If Wharton County Junior College is going to award 3 semester hours of credit to students successfully completing Government 2305 or Government 2306 online, as it does for students in the face-to-face sections of these courses, I have an obligation to ensure that the courses are substantively equivalent. You will be responsible for completing exactly the same reading assignments as students in my face-to-face sections of this course. I will present the same lecture information to you as I do to them, albeit in an electronic format. You will be tested over the same curriculum content as your counterparts in the face-to-face classes. You will be required to write in the course, just as they are. You will need to develop listening and note-taking skills, as you would in a face-to-face section of the class, in addition to learning the specific curriculum of this course. With these points in mind, it is time for you to begin your work in the course. Let's get you started by taking a quick tour of the Blackboard Government Course website. While in this video orientation I'm showing you the layout of the course website for the Government 2305 course website, the website for the Government 2306 course is organized in the same manner. So for those of you who are enrolled in Government 2306 and watching this video orientation, Following along while we take this tour of the Government 2305 course website should still be beneficial. To access the course website, log into Blackboard. The Blackboard homepage displays links to the websites for all of the Wharton County Junior College courses that you are currently enrolled in. Click on the link to your government course, and the government course homepage is displayed. This is the homepage for the Government 2305 course. The homepage for the Government 2306 course has a different photo in the course banner. Once you get to your government course website, you will notice that on the left side of the screen there is a navigation pane containing links to the content areas for this course. In the much larger pane on the right side of the screen are the content areas. When you click on one of the links in the navigation pane, the appropriate content area is displayed here to the right. You should begin by clicking on the link to the Getting Started content area. At the top of the page is a link to the Read Me First document. There is a good chance that many of you have already read through this one-page document. If you have not yet done so, I strongly advise you to do so before you attempt to begin your work on the Week 1 learning materials. The next link is to the video orientation you are now watching. Here is a critical link, the course syllabus. You should read this document carefully and thoughtfully from beginning to end. It lays out course policies, course requirements, and includes a course schedule and topical outline identifying time frames for weekly course content and graded work. You should refer to this document throughout the semester. Being familiar with its contents from the beginning to the end of the semester is one of the keys to your success in this course. The weekly schedule of learning materials and due dates for graded work that appears at the end of the course syllabus is also linked here as a standalone document for quick and easy access. One requirement for this course is that I incorporate some mechanism for student-to-student interaction. This semester, you will have that opportunity by participating in weekly discussions about the curriculum content for this course with your classmates. This document, Weekly Discussion Posts, explains how you should proceed to fulfill this course requirement. Next is the receipt of course syllabus acknowledgement form. Wharton County Junior College policy requires that students complete this form in every course offered by the college. In online courses, this form is typically set up as a quiz. When you open this quiz, you will see the instructions page. Read the instructions, then click on the Begin button. You will see one multiple choice format question on this quiz. The only acceptable answer is answer A. Quote, I acknowledge that I have access to a copy of the student syllabus. The contents of the student syllabus clearly denote the course requirements. I understand the requirements concerning textbooks, required assignments, testing, and how my grade will be determined. The instructor's office hours and telephone number were given, as well as the last date to drop with a W for the course. Select answer A and click on the Save and Submit button. Blackboard will give you a confirmation that you submitted your quiz. Click on OK, the OK button at the bottom right of the screen. You should see a review of your quiz submission. If this page indicates that you answered correctly, you have successfully completed this task. If there is a red X here, you need to take the quiz again and select answer A. You have unlimited attempts to get this task completed correctly, but I recommend that you just select answer A on the first attempt so that you can move on to other important tasks. We will be using Respondus Lockdown Browser with Monitor when taking unit exams and the final exam for this course. So if you have not downloaded and installed Respondus Monitor yet on your computer, or if you are uncertain how to execute an acceptable environment check at the start of an exam, I recommend that you invest a few minutes to view these two videos. Please make certain that you are familiar with the college's academic integrity policy. This document also contains an addendum explaining how this policy applies to this government course. This is a link to a short video in which I explain to a face-to-face class the importance of taking good notes. I believe the observations I made in that discussion equally apply in online courses. So if you think you might benefit from these observations and suggestions, I recommend that you invest a few minutes and have a look at this video. The last link here is to some frequently asked questions about online learning and using Blackboard. This document was prepared and is maintained by the distance education staff. If you encounter some problem in Blackboard, not specifically related to the curriculum of this course, you should check here to see if the DE staff has provided an answer. You should direct questions that are specific to the curriculum of this course to me. Okay, let's go back to the top of the navigation pane and find the link to course announcements. Click on that link and announcements are displayed in this content area. You should regularly check and carefully read announcements posted in this area. New announcements are posted on a fairly regular basis in online courses, so you are well advised to get in the habit of checking here often. If you need to visit with me during regularly scheduled office hours, click on this link to Virtual Office Hours. This opens the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra tool that we use for live interaction in this course for office consultations. Click on this link to Virtual Office Hours, then on Join Session. We can also have asynchronous conversations by email, but in my experience, live or synchronous sessions during virtual office hours is often a much better way to get faster and more satisfying resolutions to the issues that you face as they arise. The Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board requires that I assess your mastery of 4 core competencies for this course. On each of the 5 unit exams, we will assess core competencies. Here, you will find the first 2 parts of a 5-part lecture series that are intended to prepare you for those core competency assessments. The remaining parts of the 5-part series will be activated according to this schedule. Okay, we're almost done with this video orientation, but I would be remiss if I didn't briefly explain to you how to access the actual government curriculum for this government course. The broad consensus conclusion from research in the area of pedagogy, that's the method and practice of teaching and learning, is that learning in college courses takes place best when learning materials are structured on a week-to-week basis, rather than on a work-at-your-own-pace basis. Consequently, beginning week 1 and running through week 15, learning materials for this course are activated and deactivated on a weekly basis. For the purposes of this online course, think about each week beginning at 12 a.m. Sunday morning, that's the middle of the night, and ending at 11:59 p.m. on Saturdays, that's 1 minute before midnight. These links to the curriculum content for a given week are activated at 12 a.m. Sunday, so you cannot access the week's content before Sunday at midnight. Access to the content closes at 11:59 p.m. Saturday. This provides you an incentive to study course materials on a regular basis, rather than the night before an exam. The learning materials for week 1 are already available to you. So once you tend to the tasks in the Getting Started content area, you can immediately proceed to your tasks for week 1. Each week at the top of the content area, you will see a list of this week's tasks. The reading assignment for the week is indicated here. You are reminded that you have a weekly reading quiz testing you over that reading assignment that will be accessible from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday. Week 13 is an exception to the Wednesday pattern due to the Thanksgiving holiday. You are reminded that you have some video lecture material to watch. Again, the video lecture material for a given week opens at 12 a.m. Sunday and closes at 11:59 p.m. Saturday. Once access to the files closes at the end of the day on Saturday, I do not reopen access, so make sure you stay on schedule watching the lectures. You're also reminded that you have a weekly discussion post requirement. Access to the week's discussion forums opens at 12 a.m. on Thursdays. Primary participants have until 11:59 p.m. on Thursday to post their answers to their assigned versus pairs. Secondary participants have until 11:59 p.m. Friday to post their responses. And tertiary participants have until 11:59 p.m. on Saturday to post their responses. Week 13 and Week 15 are exceptions to the schedule since the Thanksgiving holiday is in Week 13 and instruction comes to an end in Week 15. Be sure to read the document entitled Weekly Discussion Posts linked at the top of the page for instructions about how to proceed with your discussion board participation. This document is also linked in the Getting Started content area. As I indicated, you will be able to access the weekly reading quiz on Wednesdays and discussion forums beginning on Thursdays. There are other tasks that will be indicated for certain weeks, such as taking unit exams. Remember, the schedule of availability of learning materials and due dates for graded work is linked in the Getting Started content area. It can also be found at the end of the course syllabus. Finally, as you can see in the navigation pane, I have these links to special lecture presentations. These relate to the core competency assessments. There are 5 parts to this video lecture series. The first 2 parts are currently accessible and are directly related to the core competency assessment essay you will write on Unit Exam 1. The remaining 3 parts will be activated as indicated here. Okay, enough video orienting you. If you have questions, you can visit with me during regularly scheduled office hours in the virtual office, linked near the top of the navigation pane. Or you may send me email-type messages by clicking on the link to Course Messages near the bottom of the navigation pane. At any time during the semester, you can see your graded work by clicking on the link to Course Grades. Okay, get off to a really good start this semester by tending to the tasks in the Getting Started content area and then moving on very quickly to the tasks related to the Week 1 learning materials. If there is anything that you do not understand at any point, please do not hesitate to contact me. Best regards.